you have a big hole here, right?
Oh, wow.
All right, hi guys, welcome to the next installment of the 94 Miata, right? It's 94. 94 Miata restoration. It's another weekend that Nick is here with me, so we're gonna do a little bit of work as much as we can, and we're gonna continue with this side here that we keep doing a little bit at a time, but we have an unexpected problem. Apparently we developed a fuel leak from underneath, and I went and I checked last time, and it turns out that the fuel filter literally rusted away. So I got another one, and now the first thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna change that, because with a fuel leak and a welder, that's not a good combination. So let's do that first. Okay, so this is what I'm talking about. Wow. Okay, it's dripping on my phone. Have to take this plastic cover off first, and let's inspect it more. Don't even know where it is leaking from, but it doesn't really matter, because as long as it's from the actual filter. So there's a hose on this side that we need to disconnect, hoping it's not gonna leak, because the fuel pump is in the tank inside, so as long as the pump is not pumping, it's not gonna leak when we disconnect the hoses, even though the filter is probably full. So we're gonna put something to drain it in, and yeah, we're gonna go from there. I don't know how I'm gonna undo the bolt that is holding the clamp that is holding it. I hope that the clamp is not rusted, because I don't think the new filter is coming with a clamp. So we'll see. Here's the new filter. No clamp, of course, no hoses, no hose clamps, but we have all that. So anyways, let me go and see if I can unclamp the old one. All right, so I was able to take it out, and that was fun. So the hoses didn't want to come out, so I removed this hose from this side. The clamps are just disintegrating, like this one. You can't even undo these, they just disintegrate. This bolt was really hard to reach, so for me it was easier actually to reach these two. So I removed the whole clamp, and maybe that's a good idea, because we can actually paint it. All right, so this is the bracket. We actually cleaned it up and rust converted it, and we're gonna paint it soon. But we snapped this bolt. Come on, focus. We snapped it, and now I built it, and now I'm just showing Nicole how these easy out things work. So hopefully that's gonna work for us. All right, so surprisingly our easy out worked, and we were able to remove it. I actually had to heat it with the acetylene torch, but it worked. So all right, so it is mounted finally. All clamps are replaced, hoses are the same, but I hope it's gonna hold. And the bracket, I should have really painted it black with paint. This is just primer, but you know, couldn't wait for the paint to dry. And anyways, it's better than bare metal. So just put the cover back on, the plastic cover, and we're done. But actually I'm gonna ask Nicole to start the car and check for leaks again before we put the cover on.
2 weeks later.
Hey guys, welcome to the next episode of the Miata restoration. And it's raining again, I know. So just telling Nick that all our videos about the Mazda are in bad weather, and it's not a coincidence. It actually makes a lot of sense. The thing is, because Nick is only here every other weekend with me. Most of the time he spends with his mom, because that's where he goes to school. So the weekends that he's here, if the weather is good, we usually go somewhere. We go to Canada Wonderland, or we go to the beach or somewhere. So we have fun with the family. And we only work on the Miata when the weather is not good and we can't do anything else. So that makes a lot of sense. So today is one of these weekends when the weather is not good, so we're gonna bring the Miata inside, but first of all I have to make room here. Here's the man in question. He's coming with his coffee. Now he needs to go and actually put air in the tire there and see if it actually is gonna start. So it's gonna be fun. All right, she's inside finally. It keeps raining, so this time she even had 2 flat tires for whatever reason. And I guess that's what happens from sitting. I think last time we put this together. I think we are at a point where we have to make this patch for here that goes down and closes. I have part of it somewhere. That's what I cut off. So now we have to make it extend, go all the way down and into this flange. But that's what I have to do. And in the meantime here, Nick might start with this patch. So if you remember, we made this patch inside here. It still needs to be ground properly, but I also made this patch for here. And I think I know where it is, surprisingly, yeah. I keep it here for days now. So that's more or less what I made for here. So maybe I should cut it and tack it in place for Nick so he can weld it and then even grind it. And I'm gonna be working on the other one in the meantime. There was a time at some point in which I was working on customers' cars, so Nick decided to work a little bit on his car, and that's what I gave him here. I put some body filler and he started sanding it. Of course it needs a lot more, but that's what he did here too, and here he needs to sand it. Anyways, that's where we are. Let's get crack-a-lacking. Okay, so the patch is tacked in place. Here I burnt a little bit a hole, but Nick is gonna fill it in and then we'll see how well it's gonna turn out. It has to be welded really slow. We must keep it low heat, so he might cool it down with the blower after every tack. And in the meantime, I'm gonna start with this patch. Okay, not bad. So he welded it and now he needs to grind it. In the meantime, I made this template here that kind of follows this shape. So that's gonna be it. It's not gonna be exactly as the original, but that's what we did on the other side as well, and it worked well. It's important, the structure, right? It's not important to be the same shape because it's inside the rocker. So let's use that old method that we had, shake it a little bit and turn it into metal. And now we can go bend it on the brake. All right, so it fits pretty well, and now I bent it in this end. I bent a little bit further in so it can match here. Here it is exactly where we want it. Here we need to bend it out, and here we need to bend it in. So we will see how we're gonna do that without shrinking it too much, because when we push this that way, that's going to shrink it in the middle and it's going to make it a curve, but we can stretch it on the stretcher if we have to. But my main concern was here, whether this was going to fit inside the outer rocker, which is there. So that's why I asked Nick to help me, and we fitted it kind of, even though this bracket is in the way here. But I realized that this flange can't be there, because that's where the rocker goes. So this flange is needed, but no flange here. So I'm gonna cut this off and we're gonna fit it again. We have to figure out how. Maybe I can put this bracket inside. Now I have whatever, so I can actually fit the rocker outside.
Secret start in your heart so slow. But if you don't wanna tell me now, I guess I'll never know. Losing almost all my energy. It's getting hard to talk to you, and I'm the only one who speaks. It's all the things you never show. There are the things I want to know. Secret start in your heart so slow. But if you don't wanna tell me now, I guess I'll never know. Here we go, turning all the wrongs into rights. Here we go, you can take me there tonight. Whoa, this life is all we know. Whoa, I can't stay if you can't let it go. I never really know what's going on. And even when you're next to me, I feel like you were gone. It's all the things you never show. There are the things I want to know. Secret start in your heart so slow. But if you don't wanna tell me now, I guess I'll never know. But if you don't wanna tell me now, I guess I'll never know.
Alright, so Nicole finished welding and grinding this patch, and we took the whole lid out and flipped it upside down because now we're gonna have to bend this flange down. So we painted inside here the part that is gonna be overlapped. So we're gonna let it dry a little and then we're gonna bend this down. Then we're gonna weld these two notches here that are from our patch, and maybe a little bit here. We'll see how it's gonna, where we're gonna have to weld. And later we'll see if we're gonna grind this or we're just gonna leave it. These are the welds from the patch that we made here in one of the previous episodes. But yeah, if Nicole is not busy, he might keep grinding this. In the meantime, you saw what I've done. This masterpiece here. Yeah, it was a lot of improvisation, as you saw. Most of it I bent directly here on the car. And at some point I realized that this flange was going too far out. It was supposed to meet here, this one, because this is where our other piece is gonna match the cover here, which has a flange on this side, but it has a flat piece coming out this way that needs to match this. So that's why I made this cut here, and I bent this out a little bit, and I put an insert piece here because the gap was too big. This is something that Nicole can finish. However, I forgot something. I forgot to drill the holes for the plug welds. And I don't think the spot welder is gonna work here. Maybe I can try, but if it doesn't work, then I'm gonna have to drill holes. But I didn't even paint inside, which was stupid of me. So now I'm gonna have to release this a little bit and just, wow, that's solid now. Anyway, there's still room, so we can spray from inside, from here, and I can reach pretty deep on this side and then on that side. So we're gonna spray a little bit of paint, and you know what, it's best if we drill holes, and we can drill holes from here even without going through the second piece. Actually, there's second and third piece, so even if we drill through the second, we're not gonna drill through the third piece. So we're gonna make these holes, and then Nicola is gonna weld it in full. Alright, so now we're gonna bend this down. We're gonna use a flat piece of metal for the backside, and we're gonna bend it gently. I'm gonna start from here. Here you see what's going on. I have to push this in order for this to bend. Otherwise, this is the edge of this metal that's underneath.
Oh, yeah.
So, and yeah, this is a high spot. When we go this way, this is a high spot
Okay,
here.
but it doesn't need to like be fully folded, right?
It needs to be fully folded. So we're gonna fold it here because our solid metal is gonna keep it. But we also don't want it to bend too high, and then when we make it flat, this is gonna come up. So we want it to go down. That's why I'm not hitting it right here, because it's gonna bend this down, and then the excess here is gonna raise. So I'm trying to hit it like this, you know what I mean? So now I'm gonna need you to weld this, 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 and here. You see now, that's the way I made this piece. I want you to weld here from the corner, fill all this up, and here and here.
Okay.
It is gonna be, it's not how it was meant to be, but that's the old skin. You see, it was short.
Yeah.
I don't know why they made it so short here, and I didn't make this piece properly to go all the way up. So now I want you to fill it at least here, so it doesn't flop around, because it's gonna become, and eventually this is very thin, so it's gonna start burning. You have to be very careful, because we don't want to go with the weld all the way to here. We can always grind it after,
Yeah.
but we want to keep this nice edge. Okay, so Nicola welded these, and they still need to be ground, so I'm gonna grind these. And here we didn't fill everything with weld, because that's how it is here as well, but they put silicone. You see the strip of silicone or whatever it is that we ground, so we're gonna have to do that again all the way. So we're gonna fill this with silicone as well. So I'm gonna take care of this. I'm gonna grind it a little bit, and in the meantime Nicole is coming here now to weld all that. I drilled holes underneath for the plug welds. So he's gonna start from the plug welds. He's gonna weld them first. He's gonna put the clamp right next to the plug weld. He's gonna weld it. Then he's gonna move the clamp to the next one, and he's gonna weld that. And once everything is welded underneath, he's gonna go ahead and weld all this. Okay, so Nicola welded this all the way, did all the plug welds, then we ground it a little. I mean, we don't need to grind it perfectly flush here, so that's how we're gonna leave it, but I just didn't want it to be too ugly. So now we're gonna take the wheel off, and we're gonna try to paint everything inside with primer first, and then with track bed liner, which we should have done a little bit earlier, but that's fine. We can paint still from here and from behind, from there. It's still open. And then I think we're gonna continue with the wheel well rebuild. I mean, this part here, we're gonna replace this flange, and then there are two pieces here that need to come here, one or two, I don't know, I have to watch my video. But first of all, we're gonna have to repair this part from here to here, and inside here, you see this is nice and messy, but it's gonna clean up, no problem. So Nicole is taking out the wheel, Okay, so this is all painted inside, and now we're gonna start with this mess here. So first what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the needle scaler and I'm gonna get rid of all the rust, the loose rust, and then we're gonna cut out to solid metal, and then we're gonna start replacing patches. Okay, so this is the situation here. This piece here is kind of easy. We're gonna make it work somehow. This one is worrying me more because the rust is past the curve. And on the other side, on the passenger side, when we were working a few months ago, we were able to keep this curve and just make a weld next to it. Here, we're gonna have to go past it, but how are we gonna weld it? Because we don't have access from here. So we're gonna have to make a corner piece only with this curve, maybe only to here, then weld it from inside somehow, and then come back and extend it from here in this direction. But anyways, we'll get there. For now, I wanna get rid of this flange here, because that's remaining piece from this cover that's coming here, which is also complicated. So we need to get rid of this and of this here. You see, it's all spot welded here. So we're gonna remove that, and then we're gonna start maybe with this one first, and we'll see about that later. All right, so these flanges are removed, this one and this one. Here I made a cut when I was cutting the piece out. I made this cut, so we're gonna have to weld it back. But now we're ready to cut this out, and this we're gonna leave for now. All right, so this patch is made and I tucked it in place. It's kind of worked well. Just here I left a too big gap, but Nicole is gonna weld it. So I welded this side completely because the curve was not matching perfectly, so I had to hammer it in and out, and finally I welded it completely. And so Nicole is gonna finish it. He's gonna weld this as well, which I forgot. And then I don't know, we will see if we continue. We're gonna continue with this patch here. But to do that, to build all these pieces, I mean, this piece that starts from here and finishes here, and this piece that starts from here and finishes here, they need to have some boundaries here, right? We need to know where to finish them. And the only way to do that is by putting the fender. That's gonna give us the position of the wheel arch here, where the inner wheel well needs to terminate too, right? So for that reason, we're gonna have to cut a little bit more. I don't think we're gonna show you a lot of this process because we've done it on the other side. There's a video about it. I don't know, maybe we're gonna show you more. I have no idea. We'll see how much we're gonna film. But what we did on the other side was this fender for here. It's actually a repair patch. It's not entire fender that finishes over there. I believe it includes the whole wheel arch, but it finishes somewhere here. So we don't want to use it. We don't want to use this part. So we're gonna cut it here. And here, I cut it like this just to remove it, but now we're gonna cut it here in the middle of this flat part here. And we're gonna cut our fender there, like the repair patch there as well, and we're gonna join them. So that's gonna be the task for today. Fit the outer patch. We're gonna make it overlap with this, just like on the other side. We're gonna put some clicos to hold it in place so we can take it off and on multiple times without disturbing the position, and making sure that every time it's gonna be in the same position. And once that is placed here, then we're gonna have an idea where to finish our inner wheel well when we're building these patches. So let's get crack-a-lacking. Nicole is embarrassed from my, what is it called, like a catchphrase? Okay. He doesn't like my catchphrase.
Yes, I do.
Yes, you do. Okay, so we fitted the seal, rocker, and then we put the fender on top. We cut only the patch that we want to use, and it fits pretty well. The gap with the door is nice, and now here, this is what I'm talking about. We have something to tell us where to put our flange on the inner wheel well. It's gonna be tricky, but we're gonna have to do it. So here inside, we're gonna have to make these match perfectly. They do, and we're gonna have to open the inner one a little bit because this is the seal, you see? And turn on the light, because this is the piece of the seal. So this piece comes here, goes up, and it has a line, this line. So we have to match it perfectly with this, because I believe the inner wheel well, the flange, ends up with this. So all three flanges will need to match here. So, okay, we're just gonna put one more clico here so we know the position, and we can always put it in the same position, and then we're gonna take it out. We're gonna take the fender out again, and we're gonna make a flange, just a corner piece that is gonna match this shape. And that's gonna be the flange of our wheel well, and we're gonna weld it there maybe somehow. We're gonna keep it there so we can build the rest, but jumping ahead of myself, one step at a time.
All the things you never show. There are the things I want to know. Secrets start in your heart so slow. But if you don't wanna tell me now, I guess I'll never know. But if you don't wanna tell me now, I guess.
So we have the flanges for the two parts. This is for the top part, and this is more or less where it's gonna be. And then we have the flange for the bottom part, and they overlap a little bit. Not so much, we're gonna cut both probably, but pretty much fits where it needs to be. And now we can go and start with the top piece. Maybe we can put it on the wheel well, and we will see how we're gonna hold it there, because it's kind of gonna hang in the air. In the meantime, Nick welded here and just ground it a little bit, repaired some holes here. This we need to grind more because the piece that comes here later is gonna have to sit flush, so we have to grind here more, Nick, later. And there was a cut here that I accidentally made before, so he welded that. So now we can start dealing with this wheel well. So this flange that I made is gonna come here, and it's gonna end where there's one piece up to here, and then from here we start another piece. So we're gonna make this one first. So this flange we can weld somewhere here, but we know where this end goes exactly, but we don't know this end, whether it goes like this or like that, or like this or like this. That's why we have the outer fender to tell us this. So I'm gonna make a cut here, like I'm gonna cut this part away, and we're just gonna maybe tuck it in one place, just one place, so it can still pivot to go down or wherever we want to position it. We're gonna put the outer fender again, we're gonna fit it with the 3 clicos, and then from inside I can position it perfectly. The arch on the wheel well to match the arch on the fender, and then maybe we can make a second tuck here somewhere, and that's gonna hold it in place exactly where we want it to be, and then we can build the part from here to the other side, wherever the part that needs to fill up this space. Okay, so I tucked it right here, and we still need to grind this, of course, because now the fender is gonna go on top and it needs to lay flat here, because you see how it goes here, goes right around, so it needs to be the same here. So we're gonna grind this, but just figured that I still have to do this repair inside first. So this is where this piece starts inside there, comes out, turns this way, and then curves around and connects here. It's normally one piece, but for us it's gonna be 1, 2, and actually I'm gonna make a third piece now. So I'm gonna cut this rust off from here. Okay, made this patch for here. I don't know how well you can see it, but just tucked it, and believe me, tucking it there is really hard, so let alone welding it. But I have a trick for here. This is how I welded there in the top, so I'm gonna weld it like that for a while, but for the rest I will need to weld from a distance. I don't know if you can see that, but it is like an inch away, which is not gonna make for a great weld, but it's gonna fill up the gap. Okay, it's not too bad. Like, it's not great, but it's not too bad. So now we have something to weld to right here. So we're just gonna wait for it to cool down a little bit. I'm gonna grind a little bit these now, and when it cools down we're gonna paint in the back, and we can weld this flange back. I snapped it off, and I'll weld it back, and then do what we were planning to do with it. So the fender is on again, and the flange is tucked at the top, and it is free at the bottom. So now here we're gonna try to position it like that and weld it in few places here, and we're gonna hope that it stays like this. If it doesn't stay like this, then we're gonna have to bend it more. Like, usually looks like we need to twist it more, but that's gonna happen once we weld it here. So I'm gonna clamp it here now and weld it. Actually, you're right. It looks like we have it bent way too much, and now it's sticking in. So we need to open this. This can't be 90 degrees. This needs to be a little bit open, the whole flange actually, because you see this doesn't match that. So okay, I'm gonna snap this weld again, and I'm gonna work on it as it is right now. I mean, I'm gonna open a little bit the corner, and then that for sure is gonna change the curves. So I'm gonna have to stretch, shrink, and do whatever I need to do to make it fit better. Now it doesn't fit. Okay, that's better. Actually, now it goes into the right place and stays without even clamps. Look at that. Just stay there. That's better. Maybe a little bit more lower here. Yeah, I need to bend a little bit more here. This needs to come down. So a little bit more stretch here, but that's it. Okay. I tucked it blindly, literally without watching, so I hope that it looks good. So now we can take out the fender again, and the flange is gonna stay. Now we know where it needs to be, right? Okay, that's what it looks like on this side. So tomorrow, because we're gonna go in for dinner now, but tomorrow we are back out, we're gonna weld it here. Maybe I'm gonna make another piece for here, because just for 1 inch stitch it's easier to make one piece for here and one piece for here. That's gonna make it more solid if we make a piece for here only. and then we're gonna continue from there. This is gonna end up, we're gonna cut it like that. So we're gonna cut this corner. This corner is at the level of this corner, more or less, inside. So yeah, that's gonna be the easy part. The hard part is this here. And especially here at the bottom, it's like a scoop. It needs to go down and curve, and like it's all kinds of shapes here, but we're gonna figure it out. Can you pass me the other flange from the table? So that's the other flange for here, and they overlap like that. And again, we're gonna have to build the piece inside that connects to this flange. All right, so the next day, and we made it a patch for here. I just tucked it. Nicole is gonna weld it later. And now this gives us just this hole here to fill. And I made this paper template that fits pretty much there. But here you see, if I hold it inside where it's supposed to be and bend it here, without stretching it and without shrinking it, we're almost there. I mean, shape-wise. And then the three-dimensionality though, right here, we're gonna have to deal with that. So we can take this out later and stretch it here with the English wheel, and that's gonna make the metal expand, as long as we don't stretch the end, because if we stretch the end, it's gonna create troubles. I'm gonna start making this patch out of metal. In the meantime, Nicola is, first of all, he's gonna put the fender back with the clickus to make sure that this flange is still where we want it, because remember, the last time we had just 2 tucks on it. Now we put another patch, so we may have pushed it in or out. We want to make sure that it is exactly where we want it. It's still there. And then if I'm not done with the patch, Nicole is gonna weld all this here, and later we're gonna put this patch on and we're gonna finish that. Okay, so this is where we start. So this fits more or less there. Okay, like that maybe is better. So like this and like this, and now we have to start stretching it here so we can curve it also like this. Okay, so it's getting close. Inside is pretty well. Like, that was literally 2-3 minutes on the English wheel, and looks pretty good here. We might work a little bit more on the shape, but the three-dimensionality is pretty good. Only here we still need to go a lot more in the middle to rise this here to touch the flange. But probably we're gonna have to shrink here as well, because you see how this curve now opened, because the way I go on the English wheel is I go in this direction, and the diameter of my wheel is pretty big, so it just straightened this curve. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna take another wheel with a much higher crown in the middle, and I'm gonna go in this direction. The wheel is gonna be like this, and it's gonna allow me to bend it more this way and still gonna stretch here. Okay, that's where we're gonna leave it. If you look inside, actually it touches, this corner touches the sheet metal, so we're just gonna hammer this flange down, and that's good. Inside needs to go a little bit higher, but we're gonna have to trim this edge a little bit so it can move very little higher. And this actually doesn't need much shrinking. We just need to, oops, what happened now? Okay, yeah, we just need to trim it to match the cut on the flange, and maybe we're gonna have to shrink a little bit, We will see. But first of all, let's trim it. Okay, I only trimmed it without bending it anymore, shrinking it or stretching it, and it fits pretty well. Only this corner here is still a little bit high, but I'm gonna tuck it in all other places, and then I'm gonna push this in and tuck it there too, because now it fits pretty well. Well, I'm forgetting something. We had to take it off so we can paint it, and paint inside over there where we welded. So we took it off and we're gonna weld it soon again. Okay, so it's tucked in place, and I bent this flange down, and you see how it fits well now. Inside fits well, it's tucked. So Nicole is gonna weld it now, and we're gonna move on to the next. This is, you know, the trickiest one. I don't know why there's this step here, but that's how it was on the other side. The patch was going up and then going down and matching this and overlapping like big time, like 3-4 inches. But we will see how we're gonna do it here, whether we're gonna use this step or maybe we can just flatten it. All right, it's all welded. What is this? Oh, this is just a piece of wire here. We're gonna grind it off. And inside looks good. So I'm just gonna cut it like this now to make, maybe not, I don't know. I'm gonna grind it a little bit because this side, this stitch at least, needs to be ground well. And even here, these are pretty high. So, because you see how the outer fender follows this shape. So I'm gonna grind it nicely. And I don't even want to think about this one. We have the flange already. That comes like this. But we have to make the rest. Hey, what's happening?
Driving. You gotta get him introduced to triumphs, right?
Okay,
So,
well,
perfect car.
he drives the Spitfire.
It might be a little bit older than Nick. Yeah.
Okay, make sure you reach the pedals because the seat is pretty far back. You need to make sure your clutch goes all the way in. Can you press it all the way in?
Yeah.
You sure? Because you don't want to grind the gears. Okay, let's go.
Good.
Okay,
What?
let's go. E-brake. Okay. Yeah.
I think I should.
Yeah, it's okay.
Like it's hard to reach here.
Reach what?
Like I'm reaching it, but I have to extend my leg like fully.
For the clutch?
Yeah.
Okay.
Should I?
Yeah, keep going. You have to extend your leg fully. Okay, clear on this side. Yeah.
Are the blinkers on? Yeah, okay.
Give it a push, yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that's good.
How does it do that?
It happens.
I can't see behind me. Oh, yeah,
Yeah, speedometer. I don't know why it's not working.
Where's reverse on
But like where, like right and
this? Right and
towards
down?
you. Yeah. Like on the Miata.
Turning is weird.
Yeah. Okay, so here you might just go to that driveway and make a U-turn, not a U-turn, but just go in the driveway and then back up on the road.
The signals are really weird. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not used to it. Oh my god. And turning is very different.
Yeah. Okay.
Almost stop. Oh my god.
Good. Yeah, I guess there's no servo.
Why did you do
Because
that?
the seat, because the seat is too soft and it starts shaking you together with your leg. That's what happens. It happens to David too.
Oh my god, who's first?
So you have to stop before you put first, or you have to be very close to be stopped.
I'm gonna wait for him. I don't trust it.
Okay.
I don't know how fast I'm going.
It's okay. So you have the overdrive there, you can flip it down.
This?
Yeah. And that's your fifth.
Yeah. It's weird that it shifts without me using the clutch.
It's like automatic.
When I back up, do I have to shift? Do I just
Yeah, now you have to flip it back up when you're, it's like a downshifting. So you have to let go of the gas and
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
okay. So go on the second driveway again. Okay. I didn't realize he was gonna move his car. It's okay, just leave it here.
Okay, I'll just stop it after the